As the NFL draft looms closer and closer, I want to give y'all some of my deep sleepers in this class. A lot of them are likely UDFAs, but it would not surprise me if they snuck in to the back end of day 3. These are some gems in the eye of the beholder, being me. What's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Barushmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. We will be doing a the mock later tonight. I'll drop the link for that probably during the live stream. That way everyone has a fair chance to get a team and draft against me and the rest of the community. I will have a 3-round mock draft coming out tomorrow that I did with Alex from Hail Mary Sports. It's always a blast doing videos with him. I can't wait. Plenty of content is just coming to the channel as we talk draft as it looms closer. I can't wait. Let's get into my first guy here, being Deandre Torres out of North Texas, the running back. I love this guy's center of gravity, man. Let me tell you. He's probably going to be one of the premier scat backs available either at the end of day 3 or as a priority free agent. Because this guy, I think what will lead him to stick to a practice squad, or at least stick to a roster or a practice squad, is his immense ability as a kick returner. He's got that, again, the low center of gravity. This dude's stupid explosive. He really showed great patience and vision around the line of scrimmage. He's just hard to put a hand on because for us, like at 5'7", he's already pretty small, but like he runs so low to the ground. But it's he's a guy that's going to evade first contact. But if he's in open field, he's got a little shake, a little shimmy, a little jitteriness to him. He can be elusive in that regard. As the pass catcher, like, he kind of did a basic standard running back route tree, which is kind of fine. I think obviously he could be more than that. Fumbles were a concern this past season. He had four fumbles. Granted, that was on on 400 or 246 attempts. He had the shortened season last year. It looked like he would have emerged as the starter his freshman season. He was plagued by injuries in his sophomore year, and then, of course, the shortened season really cost him. But this past year, he really did well, and he tested out well at his pro day, going 4.56 in the 40, 38.5 in the vert. I like it. This guy's not really east to west. He's really no nonsense. North to south. Like I said, he does get jittery and elusive, but he's not a guy that'll like take it to the other side of the field. That's just not him. Big fan of this cat's game. On to the next guy on the list is Tanner Connor, my boy out of Idaho State, man. He's an impressive 6'3", 230. He performed at Washington's pro day, and he was plagued by, honestly, very bad quarterback play at Idaho State. And I bring up the pro day because I thought it was interesting that he opted to have Washington's quarterback throw to him rather than, well, his own there at Idaho State. Because the quarterback play was, like this guy's numbers would be, I think, so much bigger if he had just a better quarterback. Like the numbers should have been bigger, as he went for 44 receptions this past year, 740 yards, 4 touchdowns. He's a very interesting prospect because you just don't see a guy at 6'3", 230 with 4.37 speed. Absolutely ridiculous. He had a 39.5 on the vert. He mainly played a large majority of his snaps on the outside, and how he won against press was with footwork, man. He's hard to get a hand on, which enabled to a lot of free releases. And while he did run a very simplistic route tree there at Idaho State, he was mainly their go ball guy. That I'm kind of cool with that. Just you're bringing in this dimension of speed with that size. That's just crazy. Didn't see too many catches away from his body. Doesn't mean he can't do it. A lot of them were body catches, or he caught them, like, again, inside his chest. Doesn't mean he can't do it, just didn't see many of it. on the games that I watched. But I'm a big fan of Mr. Tanner Connor here. So he makes the list. And this next guy's a guy I have talked about. DAndre Anderson out of Alabama State, because he has a hell of an interesting backstory. 6'5", 218. Amazing size. He ended up testing out 4'5", 35.5 in the vert, 116 inches in the broad, 7'18" in the 3-cone. Now, let's talk about the history, because this guy, former LSU, there's a pedigree to this cat. So he climbed up the LSU depth chart, became kind of like their wide receiver 3 in 2018. Then the following year, he found himself in the doghouse with Coach O and ended up getting suspended for that season for conditioning concerns, because he was a meaty boy. Let's just say he was a meaty boy. And it's a shame, because 2019 was the magical LSU season with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. So he missed out on that. He ends up transferring to Oklahoma State, though he did contemplate coming out in the 2020 NFL draft, but instead he chose to transfer. Weight was still an issue. He was still struggling with his weight. I think he was hovering around the 230 mark at this point, and didn't really see a lot of playing time there at Oklahoma State, and didn't really climb up the depth chart till late. So he ends up being a grad transfer to Alabama A&M, where he shows up in the best shape of his collegiate career, getting down that 218 mark. And he slowly inched his way up the depth chart, not really becoming a starter until week 9 of the 2021 season. And at that point, the dude was a man among boys. Dude registered 33 receptions for 493 yards, 12 touchdowns. But during that final 4 games where he was a starter, he had 16 receptions for 244 yards, 5 touchdowns. He ended up becoming more than just this red zone threat, as he became kind of the mainstay for Akil Glass and the Bulldogs. So this is a cat to watch out for. Red flag, obviously, be the work ethic, as conditioning and weight issues were a concern, but it looks like he got all that stuff together in his final collegiate year. So he is definitely a cat to look out for, and he's got the pedigree. And then we're going to jump to the defensive side of the ball with Prince Amelio out of Pennsylvania, not Penn State, but Pennsylvania. Now, initially, I watched this guy at the Pro Day, where he registered a 507 in the 40. I liked the vert at 365. So I was like, okay, this guy, let's go check out his tape. Turns out he actually didn't play a lot till this past season. That's when he saw significant snaps. And to be fair, they canceled the 2020 season, which probably would have likely saw him be a starter. So he'd have 2 years of starting experience under his belt instead of just the one that we have this year. But he was dominant. 32 pressures, 6 sacks on 298 pass rushing snaps. He was primarily, because he was playing around the 280, 275 mark during that time, and he was primarily used as this penetrating 3-tech. He put on 20 pounds, and he still tested out so explosive that I think this guy will be, he will make a training camp. It'll be interesting just to catalog this guy during his journey. Definitely a dude I threw on my radar as one of the premier undrafted free agents in this class. And then this guy can possibly get drafted. It's Forrest Rhyne out of Villanova. I actually got a late day 3 grade on him, because this dude has been impressive for Villanova. Last year he was the what are they, the CIA? What was the conference he played in? He was CAA Defensive Player of the Year. They had a shortened season in 2020, but in 2019 he was on the All CAA first team All American. So take that into a little consideration. But He has been a stud at Villanova. Here, I'm just trying to pull up his stats real quick. Like going back to the 2019 season where he made first team, 23 pressures, 6 sacks. Insane. He did that with over 100 tackles. I love it. But it was this year was like the crowning achievement, what led him to be the defensive player of the year, where he registered like 130 tackles, 32 pressures, 5 sacks. He is one of the premier and I would say prolific blitzers in this class from the linebacker position. This guy navigates the line of scrimmage with a sense of mastery. Like, if we're gonna like nitpick in coverage, this dude is a very much because you're gonna worry about, he doesn't have length to really clog passing lanes. What he does is he's a minimal gain type of guy. Like, you may catch it on him, he won't make splash plays in coverage, but you're not going to be gaining yards after the catch against him. Going back to 2019, he only allowed 49 yards after the catch. This past year, he only allowed 40 yards after the catch. He was one of the best tacklers in the CAA, where he had an 8.5 percent missed tackle rate. This cat was good. This cat was money, and I decided to throw this Wildcat. I think he's draftable. I would take a shot on him in the later rounds. I think he's a guy that could stick around a roster, do some fun things on special teams, and potentially be a great depth guy in the NFL. And then I got Troy Hairston, the second, out of Central Michigan. Central Michigan's got a few guys here. So he was predominantly used as an edge guy, and he was actually very successful in that role, where this past season, 61 pressures and 10 sacks over his career there at Central Michigan, 115 pressures, 19 sacks. But the lack of length and the lack of snaps and coverage makes him a pure projection in this regard, because at 5'10", 231 with 31 and a 3/4 inch arms, you're not going to be coming off the edge. I'm sorry, you're just not. But I think he could be an off-ball linebacker based on his agility drills. The 3-cone, 6.82. The short shuttle, 4.08. He's got 4.7 speed. I don't mind making him a project linebacker at the next level, and definitely a guy to keep your eye on. Again, we're going deep. I'm hoping you haven't heard of these guys, because some of these guys' names you should know. And onto the corner position, we're going back to Villanova with Denzel Williams. I gave him a draftable grade as well. He's probably a slot only, but he was just so interesting. Again, they had the canceled season in 2020. He was a transfer from Sacred Heart in 2019 and didn't really get to start until the 2021 season because of the canceled year. He has slot size, but mainly played on the outside for the Wildcats. And this guy can match physicality with bigger receivers. It's pretty impressive. And he displays just great closing speed. And the dude is so active at the catch point, and he just tracks the ball so well in air. He kind of plays it like a receiver that I'm intrigued with this guy, that I'm willing to take a shot at the back end of the 6th or 7th round on a cat like this. Denzel Williams. The Villanova, that was a good squad last year. They got some players, and 2 of them made this list. And then I got Tony Adams out of Illinois. This one's a bit interesting because he's more of a DB, because he played all over the place for Illinois his first couple of seasons. Here, let me find where I have there we go, Mr. Tony Adams. Good size, 5'11", 203, tested out well, 4.47 speed, 41.5 in the vert, 130 in the broad, and he had a sub 7-second 3-cone. Like, I'm just going to say, man, Illinois, they had a hell of a pro day for some guys. Like, some prospects were pretty impressive. But like I said, the dude moved all over the place during his career there at Illinois, but kind of like, they kind of like they basically were like, you know what, you're a corner this season. You're going to play corner. And I thought he had a pretty impressive season. I like how physical he plays when asked to play in press, but he plays a lot of off coverage. That's just what Illinois did. They didn't have a great defense this year, despite some of the athletes they had on that defense in general. But he makes plays at the catch point. Like I remember, like this guy from Charlotte literally made a circus catch on him, but Tony Adams was just there at the catch point in the grill. I would say like 9 times out of 10, he comes up with an interception in that play. It was just an absolute ridiculous catch that I saw there. He can get crossed up by shiftier receivers, and you kind of saw that in the Virginia game. He got stumbled a few times and would have technically got beat for 2 touchdowns if it wasn't for Jelani Woods just snagging the ball that was in his area. I'm pretty sure it was for the receiver, but you saw Adams stumble up a couple of times in that game, so maybe off coverage is where you want him, but as a tackler, he does a very good job of squaring up and securing the tackle. It's when he's having to like tackle from behind, he kind of just slides off guys, but I don't mind this guy in the slot. I don't mind him as a safety. I don't mind him on the outside. I like what he can do. 61 tackles. Dude, again, solid tackler. He had an interception, 5 pass breakups. I would say him and Kirby, like Joseph, were just bonkers for this defense last year. Where they were going to let down was the other corner position pretty easily. But yeah, Illinois, like despite how their defense performed, where it wasn't nearly bottom of college football, but it was more Midland, I'd say. They had some ballers on that team. And then I got Scott Nelson out of Wisconsin. We're going to stay in the Big Ten here because I think I have a draftable grade on Mr. Nelson. If not, it's pretty darn close. Here you are. Yep, I have a 7th round grade on him. And this dude played everywhere for Wisconsin. He was playing corner, slot, deep, and in the box. I think he ends up being a deep safety based on how he tested out, as it was pretty impressive. 4.49, 40, 39 and a half in the vert, 126 in the broad, and then he shows good movement skills in the agility drills, again, with another guy with a sub 7-second 3-cone. So another dude just to keep on your radar as you start to look at safeties in the back end of the draft, because honestly, he's a pretty darn good athlete, probably a better athlete than some of the other cats that might be available here, like the Georgia Tech guy, Jawanye Thomas. I would say Isaiah Palomeo out of USC. Just he offers a bit better athleticism, I would say. And then the final guy on that was the final guy on my list. Well, there we go. We got it done. So you let me know who are some guys you think aren't really on, like just straight up sleepers that no one's talking about. That was kind of the goal of this video as we go into our prospect rankings, as it's going to be a lot of the guys you hear of, but where do I think they go, or where do I have them going? So be on the look for that. That's going to be a ton of fun. 3-round mock out tomorrow, but that's it for the video. Go ahead, do that YouTube thing. As always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.